So just our 2 minutes to breathe here, sitting in any position that feels good for you, starting the week off with yourself in mind. I'm going to extend the legs fully here for these 2 minutes. Hi, Fiona. Thanks for joining us. Nice Monday start. So if you're sitting, you might want to think about the length in your body. If you're standing, you might want to think about the grounding in your feet. Wherever you are, paying attention to your breath. It's that proactive, these reactive start to the day actually really sets the pace and lets us feel in control. And that definitely begins with breath work. Such a simple thing. Just one more moment here. All right, perfect. Now I'm going to interlace my fingers. Breathe in up through the midline and just stretch my stomach. Arms stretching up overhead and just a light bend side to side. So you can do this in any position, seated or standing. And once more, just a little shimmy through the waist. Perfect. And legs in there. So we'll be on the floor for a lot of weight through the wrists. So if you need it, wrist relief at any point with some rolls or pressing the backs of the hands together. We're going to come and bring them now onto the floor. Simple shoulder circles. I want you to separate your fingertips wide, and then from here we're just going to imagine that we're rolling the circles start small, and then once you've established control, you make that circle bigger and bigger. Start with little movements. Breath and getting bigger. Just notice if your head wants to do this little thing, sticking forward. One more, and we're going to go in reverse. So one way is always the less natural. While you're doing this, lengthen the back body, lengthen the spine. Elbows lightly tucked. And you can gradually get bigger. Lovely. Now I'm going to bring both elbows to the floor. Hands at the base of the neck. And one elbow is going to lift. Lift it over toes up. And that helps you keep anchored. From here, one elbow comes up. And thinking about pulling it apart. And by opening your shoulder and your waist.
Willow, we can't hear anything that you're saying.
Oh, have I disappeared?
We can see you, but we can't hear you.
Oh, rubbish.
No, we can hear you now because you're. I think it's when you move away from the screen. Sorry.
Oh no, that's fine. Well, I will talk closer to the screen and then guide you through the movement in that case afterwards. Thank you for letting me know. Thank you. I just saw a message saying the same thing. So yeah, guys, keep going through that nice open twist there. Trying to open your chest. So just notice when you're really creating space from elbow to elbow, try to lengthen away from the floor and changing sides. So 8 reps. Guys, can you hear me here? Yeah, cool. Thanks, Lizzie. So I'll stay right here then for the rest of the session. We'll try and keep these movements in one spot. Good, last one. All right, now coming on to the hands, we're going to go through our bow and arrow stretch, one of my favorites. If you don't know it, follow me. I'm going to lift one arm, pull back like I've got an arrow, and then sling it forward, lengthening along the outside of the arm, the pinky side, releasing that arrow. So pulling back with your bow, squeezing shoulder blades together, and lengthening. And with the opposite arm, it's bending. So as I lengthen, it's a bent arm. I'm looking out over that elbow. And I love this one because when it comes to mobility and stretching, it's not enough just to lengthen. You also have to create tension. And as you pull that bow back, as you draw that elbow back, you should be able to create some tension in the backs of the shoulders, the rear deltoid, and between the shoulder blades. Lots of muscles in the upper back there as well. Inhale and reach. Lovely, really nice. And last one. And then changing sides. Yeah, guys, if anything like that does happen with the mic in the future, feel free just to let me know. And I'll do my best to make adjustments so the class is at the same high quality as it should. Well, if we listen for clunking, clicking that maybe isn't usually there, and just to recognize where you might be a bit tighter, where you might have to give a bit more attention to. Back and release one more time. Lovely. Okay, coming on to the elbows again, we're going to go through our puppy prayer. So some of the classics here stretch-wise, if you're not familiar with it, elbows are going to just come around and hug the head. Hands are going to come into prayer position behind the neck, and we're going to press the hands towards the floor. Good. Now keep going there. It's really important that we're not letting our body just hang down. So what you want to do is think about drawing your rib cage inwards and upwards. It's almost going to arc the back up slightly, so it is going to feel a little bit different to how you might think that it should look. But play with that rib positioning there. Play with the shoulders. Try to keep some strength so we're not just dropping into them. Lovely. Now coming back up on the tabletop, I'm trying to keep you off the wrists the whole time, but we do have quite a lot of movements from this position. I really like this one. It resembles your cars quite closely, but with a bit more of a shoulder and chest opening. Hand behind, pulling the elbow back to open the chest. The higher the hand is, the harder it's going to be. I want you to really focus on broadening through the collarbone. So draw back the elbow, arm to the side, turn the palm, and then fully reaching up overhead. And then we're going to take that in reverse. Arm back and hand behind. And we're just going to stay on the same side for 5 repetitions, aiming to keep a long neck. And as you reach up overhead, you're thinking elbow and wrist at ear height. So lots of good shoulder work today. We'll be looking at spine as well. Finishing with a lower stretch, but primarily our focus is upward today, and we will do vice versa on Wednesday. Now let's change sides. So we're just giving you a front on view. If you're not quite sure what the elbow retraction looks like, I'm drawing it open, lengthening to the side, turning the palm and sweeping to the front. Again, checking in with the back. With breath, has it floated up to chest height, or are you still breathing quite nice and deeply? Great to see you with your cameras on, guys. Good to see how that movement's looking. Nice, Isabel, that's great. Good to have you back on land. Perfect. 2 to go, everyone. So elbow back, reaching. And maybe you're challenging yourself a little bit here. You're trying to get more opening in the chest. All right, lovely. So a nice stretch here. Just pushing hands through the floor. We did the circles in the beginning. I'm going to get you to just focus on driving out, almost like you're doing like a cat. So it's a very active stretch. From the inside, you're creating tension. Drive, drive, drive through the hands. Notice how that feels in the backs of the shoulder blades. Actually, it's going to look like I'm not doing anything at all. That's how it should look. But if you were to look closely in real life, this is real life, in the flesh, you would see that I'm shaking. Good, and relax from there. All right, nice light little rolls. We're going to go through our twisted dog now. Twisted Frank, you will find it called both by myself and by Lynette. It basically looks like a down dog, but I'm going to bring my legs a little bit closer to my face, and I'm also going to try and plant the heels. If you can't, don't worry, not a big issue. Bend the knees as much as you need to facilitate the A-frame. And underneath the body for opposite ankle and try to pull myself through the shoulder of the standing arm. So let me show you for the visual learner. As I'm going to reach, pull my head through, smell my armpit, and then I'm going to come back to tabletop and push out the ground, smell the armpit, and coming back. Push away, reach. Maybe feet are flat, maybe they're not, maybe the legs are bent there. And changing sides, and every time I'm scrunching my fingertips into the ground, really making an effort to create range. Not worrying about so much how it looks as how it feels. Good. Just noticing if the hamstrings are any more tight than usual as well. I'm just going to keep going through this for 2 more on each side. And 1 more each side. Take your time. This is where hoodies start to get in the way, isn't it? You think, oh, great, big baggy clothes on a chilly morning. Before you know it, you can't see anything. Good, relaxing there. Okay, nice one. Perfect, everyone. So just taking a minute, taking a pause. We're actually going to take a child's pose here with a thread through, and then a child's pose with a lat reach. I'll tell you when to change. We really just want to relax into all that warmth we've created there. The child's pose, hips on heels. You can make a space for belly, boobs, biceps, your knees. If you want, we're together if that feels better for you. On the thread through, arm comes underneath shoulder near to the floor, lengthening out the other. So a static style stretch. Thinking about muscle length as opposed to joint opening. Lovely, and let's change sides. I know some of you will be using this mobility class this morning to warm up for your workouts. Awesome. A really good way to do it. If you're on your recovery day, then thank you for making it here nice and early. Still doing movement. That's really going to facilitate recovery. And going for that lat reach. So reaching to one side, I'm going to reach over to my right side and bring the left hand up, pressing out the side of my back. Vice versa if you're going to the other side first. Really trying to create a big arc in the side body. Notice when the hips want to lift, if you can keep them back. And on our exhales, we're just pushing through a little bit more space. Awesome, changing sides. Hands walk through center, hands to opposite side, And same thing, just extending out the side back slightly. And a little bit more. Good. Notice when you start to shake, that's where you want to breathe through. Just to instigate more range, you need to let your body know, hey, this is cool. We're not panicking. We're not struggling here. Perfect. And coming up from there. Very nice. So we've got kittens and dogs in the background. That's always a joy, isn't it? So we've looked at our upper. We're going to start to move through the spine a little bit more. I'm going to get you to come up into a half kneeling position. That means one foot is forwards and flat, the other knee is planted. So making sure pelvis is scooped under, you should get that nice stretch down the front, scrunched up bum, and you might even get a stretch down to the lower part of the quad if you're quite tight there. From here, I'm going to bring my hands together. There's crocodile arms in front. I'm going to reach open behind me, and then a big circle round. Try to lengthen your arm until you think it's probably in line with the other one. Forward, and my hips are staying relatively forward. That's maybe where you feel the stretch more than anything. Good. Across the center and back over. 5. But we're looking to stretch the waist out here. One more time. And let's change sides. So opposite knee comes to the front. Again, really grab your pelvis if that's going to help you to get that right spot, because it is worth it with this one. And from here, lengthening through the center, up and over. Through center, up and over. Yeah, excellent. Oh, and it's almost like it's a summer's day, isn't it? You can't see the frost, and all you can see is the sun going in. It's very nice. I do like these crisp days, though. They're so very beautiful. 2 to go. And one more. Perfect. Yeah, it's quite intense, right? We're going to come back to the first side now. We've just done an open twist. Now we're going to do an inside twist. So coming back to the first leg you had lifted, rise it back up again. And now instead of opening outwards to the same side as the open hip, the bottom knee, you're going to open the other way. This is going to feel a little bit trickier, actually. Same pattern. Lengthen across. And then up and open. Lengthen across, reach around. Notice that the knee wants to drop out to the side or into the center. Posture. Yeah, really different, isn't it? Much harder. Yeah, keep reaching. One more time. And changing knee. Now, this is really good up against a wall. I'm not going to get you to do it up against a wall because you're all in different spaces, but if you're doing it on your own and we haven't done this one together before, I would definitely recommend it. It gives you a good gauge of how tight you are. You've got a bit of a point of reference when you're doing it against the wall. Good, 2 more here. Noticing where you begin to hold your breath. That's usually a sign of panic from your body. So try to gauge, where can I move to before I get that? And moving back. Awesome. Okay, coming into low kneeling position now. Going with our simple twist, sitting up nice and tall from the tailbone. Notice if you are wanting to extend, you can just keep lengthening your back. Hands to center. Let's lightly twist. Aim to get elbows perpendicular to floor. Back, changing sides. And coming back. whole body bobbing. Okay, so we're almost there on the spine. After this, we're going to do up dogs, down dogs. Getting in our flexion and extension of the back, as well as our rotations here. And then we'll be moving into a couple of hip openers before rounding up with our breath. Just a couple more stretches in mobility. 2 more on each side. Keep that length. One more on each side. Notice your knees wanting to slide, hips changing weight. Last one. Goodness, Sarah. Okay, perfect. So we're going to come into our up dogs, down dogs now. Now, how you do these is really important. Always wanting to be doing it with intention. So doing it with a purpose. We're not just copying the movement, but we're doing it meaningfully. We want to open and create more space, more awareness of our back. I'm going to bring my hands onto the floor, come into my tabletop, and then I'm going to set up my down dog by tucking toes, sending hips back, strong core brace, and I've got enough bend in my knees to create that long A-frame position. If you've got decent enough ankle and hip mobility, maybe feet are flat, that's up to you. From here, I'm going to lift as much of my body up as possible. Squeeze the abs, tuck in the rib cage, tucking chin, squeeze the bum of my head into this arc. Thighs stay lifted, hands are out the floor, and my heart is pulling between the shoulders. If you need to knees down, back to quadruped and then to down dog. Otherwise, just going straight through. And again, lifting up the body. Can you tuck your pelvis there? Back, squeezing to stabilize and support it, and then abs roll back. We're going to do 3 more of these. At any point, come on down to the ground. It is quite a lot of work. Stretching the tummy. Nice. Squeezing, pushing back. 2 more. Now feeling that shoulder opening as you push them towards the thighs. Pikes or your twisted dogs. Cheeks push back. And 1 more time. Inhale, move with breath. And pushing back. Lovely. Coming to the floor, sweeping the legs around you. Going for some wrist relief. So hands pressing together nicely. Lovely. So a couple of hip openers, more stretches here, as I say. Just because we can't get through a class without not having any love for the hips. They deserve it. So crossing one leg over the other, ankle roughly in line with the knee. You're going to bind with the opposite arm. So I've got my right knee up. I'm going to take my left elbow and I'm going to wrap it around the outside. I'm going to hug it all the way into my chest. So my focus is on the outside of the hip here. Hug it into your body and sitting up nice and tall. Beginning to center around your breath again. This is a real favorite of mine at the moment. I think with the running, and if you're doing any jumping, actually any plyometrics, or if you're doing any heavy strength work, the hips do so much stabilizing that they can get quite bunched up. So this is a good one. And let's change sides. Grabbing the knee, hip might lift a little bit off the floor. If you can, keep it planted. And if this actually doesn't feel good for you, maybe you're bringing that the heel of the extended leg in to your torso as well. But do just focus on the hip opening over the twist element. We've got loads of twists in today already. Perfect. And now our seated fold. So you're going to bring heels out in front. Start with them nice and close to your body. You're not thinking about looking bendy. You're thinking about releasing. If you know that you're quite tight in the hamstrings, now is your chance to grab a pillow to sit on, maybe a yoga block before we get into this. So think about bringing your rib cage up and over like you've got a ball here and draping forwards, maybe holding onto the outside of the legs. As I exhale, I'm going to let them slide away. Slide away, slide away. Good. The space. Only going as far as we can with comfort and control. That's the best thing about stretching at home. You're not thinking, oh God, people are going to be judging me for my tightness, because there's nobody about to judgmental cat or dog. I definitely do. I tried to sleep in 5 minutes later this morning, and my cat came upstairs, and it's like, 5 minutes. You can't lie in on an animal's watch. Great judgment there, because they want their food. Okay, so just another few breaths here. Hope I'm distracting you with my pet chat. Sometimes helps. Good, exhaling, maybe dropping the head. Maybe the legs are getting straighter. You're kind of easing out of that deep bend. Letting the head hang. Maybe feeling that stretch in the low back more than anything. And when you're ready, slowly returning to center. So I recognize some of you will have to dart off to work, but the question is, if we don't have 2 minutes of time for a breath, are we doing too much? So I always ask myself if I feel like I'm too busy for that. Okay, so here we go. Let's just take a seat. I'm in the star pose here. That's just what I felt naturally that I ended up within, but maybe you want to lie in the sun, lie with some of the rays on your face, sprawled out, or standing. Heads up, listening and feeling. If you are a natural born fidgeter, maybe you prefer to be in a stretch for this work, just while you get used to that idea. Really nice. We're almost done here. Every 10-15 minutes that we make a habit of in our week, every half-hour class we make a habit of, such a huge contribution to making it exactly that, a habit, not just for now so we can be fit right now, but so that we can feel good and have less pain in the long term. So really powerful stuff there. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. Thanks to those of you for giving me a shout when the mic went a bit funny. Hopefully it won't disrupt the recording too much, and you can all enjoy this one back at a later time. Any questions, fire them over to me. Any special requests, same thing. And I look forward to seeing some of you very, very soon. Have a nice day. Bye. Thank you.